one of the stories that Darlene, my Darlene, told many times, and I mean I've told it plenty of times too, is talking about how when we first published Darlene's first book, Until Forever, we had to decide what pen name she was going to use, and so and she was like, and she was being respectful to me, and she said, well, I will certainly use Mawhinney. So Darlene Mawhinney, that was her legal married name, and I said, oh no, you're not. No. And thank you. I love you, and I appreciate that. That respect. However, I have grown up with the name Mawhinney, and I tell you what, it is not totally memorable. It is not something you can remember how to spell. It's something that people screwed up all the time. They added K's or L's or all kinds of stuff. I said, it is not a conducive name too. Even when I was a kid and I had my DJ business, I used Danny St. John as my stage name or my DJ handle because, Dan Mawhinney, music, it just, that's not going to cut it. Right. So we decided for Darlene to use her maiden name, which was Shortridge. And it's just like, that's how it is. It's just like it sounds. Shortridge, put them together. Very easy, very simple, easy to remember. So that is an aspect, a tiny aspect. So your pen name, it's an aspect of branding. And so but when we made that decision, but something we didn't do, we didn't come up with a logo. We didn't come up with brand colors. We didn't come up with the, certain fonts and stuff. It all happened kind of by default. And then we learned over the years about the importance of this stuff. So we want to shorten that learning curve for you because, we've been down the road. We, took the long journey. We want to shorten it for you and kind of help you to get that stuff under control to start to up front. And John is going to explain a little bit why you want to be dealing with this stuff on the front end rather than later on. So with that, I would like to introduce the gal of many talents and my wonderful daughter, Jonna.
Cool beans. It is great to be here. And many of you know I do a lot of social media marketing, but what I truly love to do is branding. That's like my favorite thing to do. Branding and brand development and graphic design is what I really love about marketing. That's kind of my happy place. When I get real frustrated with something, I go work on a project where I get to make things look nice. So Dan, if you want to go ahead and pull the slides up for me. Just kidding, I can do it. Can everybody see the presentation okay? Perfect. So today we are going to talk about branding yourself as an author, and beyond that, making sure that you're staying on brand and staying true to yourself. Because a lot of times, I do this, I get super excited about something and I get all gung-ho and I spend, hours and I make this perfect idea, but then I don't implement it or I don't stick with it. And so all of that time and all that effort and all that good intention kind of goes to waste because it kind of gets put to the landslide. So it is creating it and then implementing it and making sure that you're staying consistent to it. So that's the key here. And I'm going to show you a few tips on how you can do that in an effective and easy manner that makes it easy for you to implement. Easy as in it's still going to involve effort, but I'm going to simplify it for you a little bit. So everything involves effort, but we're going to make it a little easier for you. So let's go ahead and what you're going to take away from today, and of course you will have access to this in the vault so you can revisit it anytime you need to refresh yourself, but we're going to establish what you're branding. Are you branding yourself as an author? Are you branding your book or your series? Are you branding your authority in a topic or a concept? So it's really, you have to kind of think about what you are branding before we can dig into how to brand yourself. After that, we're going to learn how you can keep your branding consistent in cover images or banner images on your social media, on your website, on your blog, because we want everything to be consistent across all of the marketing you do, whether it is in person at an event. One of the things I love is when Lori, who was my business partner, got her headshots done, she wore clothes that were her brand colors. So that way, every time she used an author photo, they were on brand. And it was such a great idea. So when you go to an event, think about what you're wearing. Does it fit your book cover? Does it fit your brand or your logo? Making sure that you're thinking about these little things. Beyond that, how do you incorporate once you establish your brand? The colors, the fonts, the publishing or author logo that you create into your content. And then beyond that, even if you're just posting a stock photo, you can actually have those stock photos fit within your brand colors. So even if it's a really low effort post, it can still be 100% on brand, which is amazing. And it saves you time and it makes things wonderful. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so defining your brand. Before we can get consistent with our branding, you got to define what it is that you are branding. So let's kind of ask these questions, and I want you to answer them in the chat. This is interactive, all right? So I'll kind of pause here between each question and maybe let Dan expound, because I know he's got some stories too that tie in with some of these, which is great. So, what is the goal with your book? Is your goal to make awareness of of your book? Do you want to drive sales? Are you trying to, just make money? I mean, that's fine. If that's your goal, that is your goal. Are you trying to tell a personal story? Is it a memoir? Are you trying to inspire others or give, lessons to others or help save people time and maybe learn things the easy way, the things that you learn the hard way? Are you trying to teach people a concept? Or, is it a nonfiction book that will teach someone how to do something, a step-by-step process? So you really have to think, what is your goal? We got Randy who says all of the above, which is great. I love it. I'm pausing. Dan said to remember the delay in responses. I already talk fast, so I have to fill the void with silence. Otherwise, I just sit here. All right, Tim, we got drive sales, make money, have Lily McGill and the other characters become known. I love that. So we want to kind of bring your characters to life outside of the book as well. We got Scott Sloan, sell more books. Perfect. Hey, that's why I wrote my book, okay? Just to sell books, and I didn't have a goal beyond that, and that's okay. You just have to keep that in mind when you do your marketing. Harry, perfect. All of the different things, which I love. Dan actually wrote, which has come up a few times, is a Tips on Tips, which was a wait staff training book for restaurants, which I love because it's kind of it's not the usual book. It was a very step-by-step, and his goal was to get that implemented into restaurants as a training material. So it's to kind of create this brand that would be used in restaurants across the world or across the nation as a system, which I love. Christine, sell more books, make them recognizable as yours. So branding yourself as an author and bringing your name out there. Yes. Okay, teach wrong writers not to trip the same pot. Yep. So learning from your mistakes and creating awareness of what happened. So we have lots of different inspiration in the room tonight. Can I call this a room? a virtual room. Okay, so now that we've kind of brainstormed a little bit about what our goals is, you have to think, do you want to be the face of your brand? Are you branding yourself as an author? Are you using your book as a product, or are you using it as a tool? We have Scott Sloan, who wants to use it as a product because he wants to drive sales. And then we have, can I just say Mick? Who wants to use it as a tool to educate. So we have a tool and a product example right there. So 2 different variations and 2 different things. And that's great. So but when you do that, when you do your brand and your marketing, you have to consider that. And then on the flip side of that, if you're branding your brand, are you branding your publishing name or your press name, or are you branding your name as an author? And we have some really great examples of that coming up, so we can kind of break down what that looks like. Okay, So Dan and I brainstormed on this a little bit earlier just to kind of come up with some ideas. And so let's start with authors who have branded themselves. So Stephen King, which we've used as an example before. When you think of his brand, it's his name that really pops up. It's that name. Dr. Seuss, same thing. It's a name that you're branding. Karen Kingsbury. Now, there's also things where it's the series or the book that's more well known than the author, like The Giving Tree. It's a very famous children's book. I couldn't tell you who wrote it. I have no idea, but I know what The Giving Tree is. Harry Potter. Now, a lot of people do know the author name, but I guarantee that the series name is more popular than the author name. It has become a brand of itself. Dan thought of this one, which I thought was great, was The Purpose-Driven Life. Again, I am very familiar with that, but I am not familiar with who wrote it. And so there's these concepts, and they really thought about how they branded themselves and what they wanted to be the face of their marketing, of their brand, and of their intentions. Now let's pop over to the press name or the publishing name. Harlequin Romance. Most people know what that is, even if they don't read them. It's a very familiar title, and it's been around for years. Marvel and DC, they started with publishing comics, and it's became this whole brand that involves so much. But really, it's that press name, that brand name. And then we have, which I thought was a good example, was Penguin Books. So that is a publisher, and they have a very iconic icon. You know, when you see it, you recognize it, you know what it is. And it's become very familiar. They've done a lot of classic republishing. It's just a very well-known publishing company. And then on the other side, we also have concepts. So we have the 5 love languages, which I think the concept is more famous than the person who wrote it. I recently discovered who wrote it, but when I talked to Dan earlier, I said, I have no idea who wrote this or came up with this concept. Don't sweat the small stuff was something that Dan brought up. No idea. Chicken Soup for the Soul. I'm very familiar. I think I've read dozens of those. Do you remember me reading those, Dan, when I was younger? I used to read them. I have no idea who originally came up with the concept, but it's a concept, and they have a pet food that came out recently. I don't know if you know this, but it's Chicken Soup for the Soul pet food. And so they've created this whole brand around this initial concept. So these are really good examples of authors and publishers and brands who put their effort behind their intention, and they marketed what they wanted to market. So it's all about intention and acting on that intention. Dan, you told me you're going to make a really good joke, and you didn't make it. I'm waiting for him.
I was going to make a good joke about the branding stuff, about the
Wide Awake Books. I was waiting for it.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. So when she was talking about the press names and stuff, and I said, well, yeah, what about Wide Awake Books? And of course, you haven't heard of that because that's the name of our imprint for our publishing our own books is Wide Awake Books. So I don't think it's well known.
But it was definitely worth the joke. Okay. So we have
I don't think.
So rolling right off of that, I have pulled up some examples of banner imagery. And when I say banner imagery, I mean when you go to an author's Facebook page or their LinkedIn page, there's a big visual banner right at the top that immediately should tell you where you are. It should be recognizable, it should be familiar, and it should fit with the brand. No matter what you're branding, it should make sense. It shouldn't just be a random picture that they found or something that isn't indicative of their brand. It should be something that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and show my screen here. And so I'm going to show you some of those examples that we just talked about so you can kind of see how they're using that banner. Okay. Let me know when you can see okay. So we have Stephen King, who's got kind of a collage of books. And if you've noticed, they all have his name very large on them. And some cases, it's almost larger than the title because he is his brand. We have Karen Kingsbury, who has her book, and she has a coming soon, which is today. If anyone wants to go and grab that book, it is available. And then we have Dr. Seuss, which is showing 3 of his most popular books, kind of in like a side view, which I like. It's very creative. You can read everything, and it is very branded. And then we have if I scroll down, the 5 love languages, which you can see it actually does have his author photo and his name. But if you take a look at the website URL, it's branded as the 5 love languages. And again, in the banner, it is branded as the 5 love languages. So they're very intentional with how they're coming across, even in this one little thing right here. So now that we've seen some examples of what some of the authors and brands that we just talked about are doing, let's kind of think about it for ourselves. So some ways that you can adapt this for your brand is making sure that if you have brand colors, or you have, let's say all of your book covers kind of fit within a same scheme or a same vibe, bringing in that series font or bringing in that color palette that you've kind of stuck into. Using your book cover or your author photo on the banner so instantly it's recognizable. Adding your logo, if you have an author logo or your press logo, putting that on the banner as well. If you have kind of like a one-liner or a famous line that goes with your series or your book, include that on there. We want to use what you're well known for, what you want to be well known for on your banner imagery. And then also just use high quality imagery, use eye-catching things that fit within your brand. I'm going to screen share again here in a second, but I want to show you, we've talked about Canva before, and I know some of you have kind of played with it a little bit. Some of you use it. Some of you are like, heck no, I don't want to use it at all. But again, I will reiterate, it is a great tool. And as self-published authors, we have to market ourselves. And it's a free tool that you can use. And it is worth investing the time to do a couple things on it. Even if you're not using it extensively, using it to create banner imagery or a social media post here and there, I promise it is worth watching a couple hours of YouTube videos to learn how to do it. It will save you a lot of effort and time in the long run. So I'm going to show you here kind of just the vast library that's available of templates, because while we can create things in it, we're not always good at knowing what to create, or we may think something looks good, but it might be really ugly. And that's okay, because not everyone is really good at designing things, and that's fine. Knowing your strong suit and knowing when you might need to use a template or have someone do it for you is perfectly okay. So let's pop that over here. Okay, so we are going to start off here. So this is kind of just the home screen of Canva. Whether you have the free account or you have the paid account, it doesn't matter. You're going to have this search bar right at the top. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to type Facebook page cover photo. So right here, we've got a Facebook cover. So it's going to pull up the exact dimensions of what it's supposed to be. So you've got the right size. You don't have to worry about whether it fits or if it's going to stretch it out weird or anything like that. So now we can kind of see all these different templates available to you, which is amazing, and it makes it really easy. So here we've got this navy and blue template here. This is a really good one if you're branding yourself as an author and you have a really great author photo. You could use this. You're branding yourself. You've got information here. You could put a little book cover here and say, I've got this coming out on March 17th. Make sure you get it. So
Jonna, if
yes.
So somebody decides that they're going to use their author photo and use it in that particular template, mm-hmm. How easy is it for them to, let's say that the blue isn't, that's not their brand?
Absolutely.
And just how easy is it to switch that up and to make it be on brand?
Very, very easy. So let's go here. It is loaded, right? Almost. So let's say that your main brand color is pink, right? So you just have to click on it. So if we're clicked off, click on that blue background. You're going to see it come up here. You're going to click that, and then you're going to have all of these colors come up. if you click this little plus, it's going to open up the whole color palette. And so like I said, we're going to go with pink, and it's a nice bright pink because you love bright colors. And all you have to do is drag it to where you want here. A little lighter, a little darker, and then you just, and it immediately applies it. So you've already done it. Let's say your other brand color to go with your pink is purple, because we are committed to this branding now. So you can just go ahead and you can select one here, or again, go up here and pick the right color. And if you have done like branding for yourself, you should have those color codes, and we'll actually show you a little trick to find colors here in a few minutes. But you can put in the exact color code as well if you have that. And then as far as this photo, I'll get rid of him because he's not. He's not the guy.
Something that I love about Canva, I don't know how many times I've gone to, to do something, was it marketing related, maybe updating the banner on the LinkedIn page or something, and was like, like approaching it and like struggling because it's like, oh, now I got to look up the size of the banner and figure that out. And then I got to decide, well, what am I going to have in this thing? And in Canva it's a cheat sheet for setting up your branding, because this is a starting point. You can, this is a free tool. You can use it. It's something to start with that looks professional. It looks awesome. And you can have it branded for your colors and your logo, and your picture, and then use it. And then, 2 years down the road, when you've got a budget, you can pay somebody to spice up a new one for you, then do that. But for now, this is a great option.
It really is. It's, like we said, I just pulled this picture in from a stock photo so you could kind of see. And if you have the pro account, which I think, Dan, is what, $13 a month-ish?
Yeah.
There is a really clean, right here, if you click edit image and you can click background remover, it'll actually cut it out for you, which makes it really simple to do quick things like this instead of spending a really long time doing it. But there is free tools on the internet as well where you can do that if you just have the free Canva, and you can just upload that already cut out image to kind of have that same look. So there's multiple ways to go about it, but so easy. Let's pretend this is one of you, and bam, you've updated it with your branding colors and your photo image right away. And it can be as simple as that and as quick as that.
Yep.
I love. So like I said, there is, thousands of each format of templates. So really just getting to a starting point of something that you like and that you think suits your brand, and going from there. And there's all kinds. There's not just Facebook. There's LinkedIn banner. There's pretty much any size template that you want on here. So I'll just kind of show you LinkedIn banner, and you'll see it pop up again. I do search it this way. But there's also blog banners and website banners. Really, it is such a vast library. And all these ones with the plus ones are pro, but this one, see, doesn't have a plus sign or crown, rather. These are free, so you can use these on the free account without having to have a pro account. And there's thousands of those as well. So there is so many options, no matter what type of Canva account that you have. Thank you, Diane. So let's go ahead and pop over to the next slide. So let's brainstorm some ideas that you can use these cover photos. So these are a tool, and they're not just a pretty picture, because on these you could also have a caption, and you can have a link. You can upload it just like a post would be. So these can be a clickable thing.
So what do you mean? I'm like, when I first see that, I think cover photo, I think, okay, so is this a photo of the front cover of the book, or is it a photo of the author? What are we talking about here?
The cover photos are just what I just showed. So like the Facebook cover photo or the LinkedIn cover photo. That's what it's called. So it's called a cover photo.
Okay, it's not called the banner. It's not the like.
I call it a cover photo, the banner image, cover photo. I gotta get my vocabulary straight.
So
but I'm referring to the thing I just showed you.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about. All right.
Correct. So here's some ideas, that you can use it. So you can Share a testimonial from a reader or a review from a reader. Pull it straight from Amazon and share that. If you're doing a giveaway through a company, or if you're doing a giveaway with other authors, you can do a themed banner to kind of show that and display that and highlight that. You can advertise your book, her upcoming book release, like Karen Kingsbury did. That was her main point of her banner. So anyone who goes to the page sees that right away. You can share your freebie or free story or lead magnet. So you can have a free download to like drive people and drive traffic to get on your newsletter list, because like we say, you don't want to market all in one place. You want to spread your marketing out because you don't want to lose access to anything. You can do a video that explains your book or story as an author, an interview of you as an author. Encourage people to get in touch or book an event or buy your book, so including a call to action on the banner. And also doing like a limited time special. If your book is going to be free for 2 days in March, you should be promoting that the second half of February so people know that it's going to be free, and then during the event that it's going to be free. So you can use it in so many different ways. And I highly recommend regularly changing your banner. Monthly is amazing, or quarterly, 4 times a year, rotating that banner. It just makes it fresh, and people like fresh. They don't like to go to the same page and see the same thing every time. So adding a little variety.
And does the platform like automatically notify people when you change your banner or your cover photo, whatever you want to call it?
Not necessarily. If you also publish it to your news feed, it may show up in some of your followers' news feeds as well. But they're not going to get like a notification to their inbox that says, yo, they changed their banner. But it's still going to be good. It's still going to favor you in the algorithm that you're active on the page and you're changing things and you're making an effort. It's still good overall. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about creating a brand kit on Canva. So I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. One for pro accounts, and then a way you can get around that on a free account to kind of create your own brand kit. So this is going to help you keep everything in one place, so you always know, okay, these are my logo formats, these are my colors, these are the fonts that I use. If you use any elements, sometimes brands, like in the author underground, we've got like little gold slashes that we use and different elements. That's part of our branding that we've incorporated. And so this is great for you as a reference, but if you ever hire someone later on down the road to make something for you, then they have it in one place and it can help them be so much more efficient. Or, if your son is like, I want to make some stuff for you, get that free child labor and have them create some stuff, and you've got it all in one spot. So it's a really good tool. So I'm going to go ahead and share again and kind of show you a couple different variations live here on how you can create a brand kit. All right, so here is, so we'll go back to that home screen so I can kind of show you. Again, this is where you're going to land when you log into Canva. So right on the left-hand side, you're going to see lots of options. What we're looking for is brand. And like I said before, you'll see this little crown, which means that this is the premium way, the pro version. So this is how, if you're a paid user of Canva, that you would create your brand kit. So right over here, click on brand. And then we're going to see brand kit, brand templates, brand controls. So you can add as many brands as you want if you have a pro account. I have clients, and so I create a brand kit for each one of my clients. So I have everything organized. But you can take a look here and you can see you can upload logos. So I uploaded all of our formats of logos. So we've got our black variation. This one's white. You just can't really see it because it has no background. This is a colored one. This is one with a background on it. So these are all accessible to me when I want to create something. Then here you can put in your brand colors. Ours are not set. So here you can put in as many brand colors as you want. Again, it's as easy as dragging it around or putting this little code in here to set your brand colors. And again, you can add one if you want to put in like a solid black as an accent. And then here you can actually use your fonts too. So Canva has a lot of fonts that are already within the program, but I use a lot of like purchased fonts for my branding. And you can actually upload your fonts as long as you have the appropriate license for them. So if it's a free font, a free commercial font, you can upload that here. If you have a paid font, you can upload that here. So it's really great. So no matter whether the fonts are already in Canva or not, you can put your fonts in as well. And so then you have this beautiful kit where everything's in one place, and you can actually pull that up. So let's go here and let's do colors. So right here, you can see, wow, those are the colors from our brand kit that pull right through. So you kind of know that they're right there. Same thing with fonts. If you have set fonts, they will be established right here. And then also here, if you change your fonts, you'll see them listed underneath your brand kit as well. So it makes it very easy to implement those things once it's set up. Now we talked about, okay, well, if we just have the free version of Canva, you can kind of get around that by creating your own little brand kit. That way you always have access to it and you have the information. So there's a lot of these little templates, just like the LinkedIn banner template. You just search brand board, and then it's going to pull up all of these different brand boards, and you can just pick one that's already free. It loads. Here, so you can see, like, this is a free one, and it has a place for your logo, for your font information, for your colors, for branding pictures, so you kind of know what your aesthetic is. So that's what I've done here. So we have our logo. We have some different elements that we like to use. And when we go to set the colors, you can actually click on where the color is to change it, and it's going to pull up any of those elements that I have on this page. It'll actually pull the colors from it for me to make it really easy to set the branding colors, which is a really nice feature. And then here I've got our fonts that we use, and here's just some inspiration imagery that we use in our branding. So this is a way that you can kind of have this. You can download it as a PDF, so you have it. You can also use it as a reference when you're designing within Canva. So that way you can just pop over to it and pull the color and pull the elements. Go back to the slides now. Thank you, Dan. That's what we already did. That's just a kind of a reference image. I'll go back. This is just within the slides and the presentation, so you can, I broke it. It's not loaded. So you can revisit it later on. I know. There we go. Okay. So how can you use this branding? So now that you've kind of established your brand kit, what can you create with it? How can you use it to make your brand cohesive, from your website to your social media pages to your newsletter or email that you send out? Because all of these things should be easily identifiable as the same brand. So make your brand kit in Canva for free, which I just showed you. Create social media posts by using that brand kit and those elements. This is something that I do every once in a while, but my desktop is a mess, so I will not show you. But creating a desktop organizer that just inspires you. I like to put my goals for the month on mine and just have it always in the background, so it's always there as a little reminder. So many of our meetings have gone to like virtual these days, so having a branded Zoom background that you can upload with your colors or your logo on it is such a great way to just make you look professional right off of the bat. So if you're doing like a video interview as an author, having that is just going to set you like this far above everyone else immediately because you have your branding in the background. You can actually create an email signature in Canva with your logo and your fonts and your colors, and then upload that as an image to your email signature. So then your every email you send is on brand, and it takes no effort. So you have that. You'll see the 4-day publishing emails go out. We have a signature in ours, and it just makes us look more professional and on brand. And you can do that as an author as well. Creating reels on Instagram or creating TikTok videos, bringing in your brand colors, making sure that you're using the text or the fonts that make sense with your brand. And then you can also, we talked about lead magnets or ebooks. You know, if you're doing a freebie, you can create a cover right in Canva for a freebie. You can create a informational lead magnet right in Canva and download it as a PDF for people to use. So it's a really good asset for smaller freebie things and lead magnets that you can change, which is really great, which I love. I use it all the time. So, you know, there's things that I use my professional graphic design for, and there's things that I'm just like, it is so much more efficient to do it in Canva, and it makes sense.
For quite a few months now, our presentations have all been made in Canva.
Mm-hmm. This one that we're watching right now was made in Canva. So it is really great. I haven't turned the chat in forever, but I figured Dan would shout out if I needed to. Okay, so I talked a little bit about stock imagery and how to search by color. And this is where another really fun tool that I use as a graphic designer comes in, but it is so great for anyone to use. Like, it is such a great tool, and I love it. And a lot of other people love it too. So let me go back to sharing. It's some serious whiplash today, guys. Okay, so this is just an Instagram template, so you can kind of see. And I want to make a post. I want to make a post with like an inspirational quote, but I really want to have kind of just a naturey background, right? Just something that just is soft and whimsical. So I'm going to go ahead and just search nature, but I want it to be on brand, right? So I really want to pull in the gold from our branding. So right up here, if you look tiny in the top right-hand corner, I have this little rainbow eyedropper. And this is an extension that I use in my Chrome browser, which there's other tools you can use in different browsers, of course. And Dan, did they get access as a PDF to this presentation?
No, we don't normally load it.
Okay.
Because it's such a big PDF file.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll send out the link when we we'll maybe I'll drop it in the chat here in just a second. But you can get this extension and you click on this and it basically activates this color grabber that you can use on any website. So I want to pull this gold here. So it's going to copy that code for me. And I really want my nature photo to pull that color, right? So I'm going to go in here, kind of where we talked before, where I showed you where the code was. And I'm just going to paste in that color. You're going to see that gold pop up that I just grabbed. I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to hit apply filters, and it's going to give me a filter. So anything that has that color in it is going to pull through. So I can look at the different photos that are uploaded that have that really gold in it and find what I'm looking for. So here are some really nice leaves.
Oh, that is so cool.
I know. It is really cool. It saves me a lot of time. I didn't know you could do that. Yeah.
I remember a couple years, I mean, it's probably, I don't know, 3-4 years ago when, and I think you, Jana, told me about the color picker thing and how to, and using that. And it like changed my world. I was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, I can go on any website. I can pull the colors. So, and I was looking at it from our perspective of being able to help you, the authors, with our books, because we've got a lot of authors we've helped to publish their second or third or fourth book, you know, and they started with somebody else. They had some other publisher that like went bankrupt or went out of business or whatever happened. And so we came in to help. And so in order for us to be able to pull the branding and pull the colors, because many authors write in series. So when you told me about that color picker, I was just like, oh man, we can call it up. We can call up the first book on Amazon. We can use the color picker. We can pull the colors off of the cover on the Amazon listing, and then record the little numbers, and then be able to emulate those colors in the next book. I said that's just the coolest thing in the world.
It is. It's such a great tool, and I use it for that a lot too. You know, I pull. If someone has like they're like, well, I don't have access to my colors or anything. Well, like I can pull them from your logo. I can pull them from your book cover and bring them in. So
Right.
It's a really good time saver, but it also works for things like this, where if you want to post just a picture, but you want it to be on brand, you can use that and you can make it that much simpler. Because instead of looking through hundreds of nature photos trying to find the exact right color, you limited your search, and it's going to save you so much time, which is the key to this, is being efficient, really.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if you're going to talk about this specifically, but I keep on thinking about this whole concept that one of the things that that I've learned in like studying my marketing stuff is this idea of marketing scent. So SCENT, like you sniff it, smell it.
Oh, okay.
Scent. They call it a marketing scent. And what it is that it's, you know, how if you have this like really nice aroma, like your lavender in your London fog, and you can smell that, and it's just like, and if you take and you walk through the kitchen and then the living room and then whatever, you know, there's that scent that's wafting. So it and it speaks to that brand. It says, you know, it says London fog. Well, the same thing happens in marketing, and it happens by being cohesive with all of these things, because it's not, and it's a very subconscious thing with marketing. Marketing is a very subconscious study, but it's stuff gets disjointed in people's subconscious when it doesn't match up. Like if you go to the like the landing page where the free thing is, well, hopefully that when they click on it and it takes them to the delivery page, then that matches and it looks the same. And then when they get the emails that follow up that say, hey, did you read your free report yet? Or, you know, your free chapter or whatever, those emails should also be the same. And then if you're in one of the emails, you're saying, hey, you know, if you could get a hop on and like my fan page. And if they go on the fan page, then does it match up? Yeah. Because if the stuff doesn't, you're going to lose people. They're not even going to know why. They're becoming uninterested. But it's scent. It's a marketing scent. And that is one of the big reasons why you want to have all of this stuff matching.
Absolutely. And Dan, how many times does someone have to see something before they take action on it typically?
Well, you know, for years and years, I mean, this is like pre-internet stuff. They always talk, back then they talked about 7 times at least. But now with the internet, with the attention span, and, you know, of being shrunk, now it's a whole lot more.
It's a lot. That. So imagine, you know, we hit them with the website, we hit them with social media, we hit them with the video they come across, a newsletter, and you're already up to 4 or 5 times right there. So you have to be intentional about this, because you want them to purchase your book. But like, I'm the same way. You know, I have to see something come up so many times, and I'm like, you know what? Today's the day. I'm finally gonna go check this out. But it takes a while, because there's just so much out there.
So one of the things I think of too that I think is probably a good example of how marketing can, you know, works for you, and if you're not paying attention to it, it works against you. Is I think about in Instagram. Instagram has the thing where they have the boxes, and then the people will have the boxes so they match up, and so there's colors and there's shapes and there's imagery, and the stuff matches up. You ever seen somebody's Instagram where nothing matches up? It looks like a bad jigsaw puzzle. It looks like somebody, you know, went to Goodwill and did a, you know, hodgepodge of stuff and stuck it in their cart. It's not cohesive whatsoever. So when you have your branding, your logos, your fonts, your colors, your imagery, when all of that stuff is matching up, it creates a more pleasant experience for the people who are seeing your stuff.
Absolutely. And on the same note of that, if you write, you know, like horror or suspense stories, your brand should give off that vibe. It should leave people with a taste in their mouth. If you write whimsical, happy ending romance, it should leave that taste in their mouth. If you write, professional educational content, your brand should be professional and should make people believe in your authority right from the get-go. You also have to be intentional about how you brand your brand, which is a funny sentence, but I thought it makes sense.
Right. Well, I think, and when you're talking about that, I was thinking of specifically like Mick's book. So Mick Benderoth, who's with us tonight, his book was just released. It's called Macabres, and I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but Macabres. However, and it's quirky supernatural tales of terror, something like that. I forget the subtitle, but the imagery that he chose and that we incorporated into the cover, I think, is dead on for conveying that brand, and in the content that is there, and that's what you want. That's what you want. You want to make sure that you're staying on brand.
Yep, 100%. This is just a breakdown, so you can reference this later if you forget how to use the color dropper tool and how to search for colors. This is that step-by-step on how to search imagery. And again, you can do this in Canva. So it's a really great resource, I promise. And all right, so now we're going to jump into Q&A. I know that I just presented you with like a word vomit of information. That's a lot. Dan's like, you don't have that many slides. Is it going to take a long time? I'm like...
That wasn't on brand. Oh, so so now we're open it up for questions. We'll give it a few minutes here as you're thinking of any questions. If you want, John, she did cover a bunch of stuff, but I think the gist of it was to kind of sum up things is that you want to build a cohesive brand with your publishing business. So, because it is a business. So you are, for most of us, that's how we started out. That's how Darlene and John and I were for years and years and years, is that it was just us. I mean, we were the marketing department, the finance department, the operations department, the sales department, and you do everything. And so, but as the marketing department for your underground publishing business, whatever you want to call it, this is a key component is staying on brand. It's having you're choosing your fonts, your colors, your logos, your imagery, your author photo, and having all of that stuff work together, and then making sure that it's the same across the board. Now, if you dig deep on 40-day publishing, you're going to come across a few things that are off brand. I know one of our pages has got the wrong logo on it still. Our last version of our last rendition of our book, 40-day publishing, it's got old logos in it. So we've got the stuff being updated. So it's not something that it's a one and done and forever, and you can go ride it for 10 years. No, this is the kind of thing you really need to look at and revamp, kind of like once a year. Like we talked about the book listing basis being something that you really want to kind of dig into each year. Well, this is something you definitely want to dig into each year, because for one, your brands change. They morph, or you have additional brands. So like after, the initial however many years of Darlene writing, contemporary Christian fiction, she also started writing cozy mysteries. And so we had to, we created an entire brand that was a spinoff and that was separate. And so we had different colors, different logos, different fonts, everything for that. So,